Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Entrepreneurs, all the entrepreneurs that have joined us from Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Zambia, Mozambique, Cape Verde, Morocco. You're all welcome to yet another TEF Entrepreneurship Program Masterclass session. And I know you guys are excited to join this particular session. So this is the Toe Way Series 1. As always, we have our dear Madam Angela Neke, who is going to be taking this session. She's been doing this for over 4 years, and she's very passionate about entrepreneurs, passionate about supporting them. So again, we have Foko Rollins, as always, who is going to be supporting us with the French translations, Nadia as well, supporting us with Portuguese, and then Adora will be supporting me to facilitate the session. She's an entrepreneurship program executive. So I really want us to, pay attention, listen. We want an engaging session, interactive. Madam Angela is going to be asking a lot of questions, engaging us, just so we're following her and we understand what is being taught. So I'll quickly hand over to Foko to translate to French, and then we'll hand over to Madam Angela to kickstart the session. Thank you again for joining us. Over to you, Foko. Thank you.
Bienvenue, chers entrepreneurs, une fois de plus à cette session de masterclass où nous allons échanger sur les TOWay, donc la façon de faire des Tony. Donc, c'est une série de sessions qui va vous expliquer comment est-ce que Tony a fait pour gérer ses affaires jusqu'à aujourd'hui. À cette fin, on sera accompagné par Madame Angela Aneke, qui a cette habitude-là et qui partagera avec nous. Bienvenue une fois de plus. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foko. Boa tarde a todos, bem-vindos a mais uma sessão de Masterclass, desta feita para falarmos sobre os caminhos do Tony Elumelu, ou seja, os passos que o senhor Tony usou, as ferramentas que usou para ser um empreendedor, um empresário de sucesso que é hoje. Essa sessão será conduzida pela senhora Angela Aneke, que já vem a fazer isso há 4 anos. Por favor, essa sessão é suposto ser interativa, participem, não se esqueçam da lista de presença. Obrigada. Over to you, Ibukum.
All right, thank you very much, Nadia. So now we're going to hand over to Madam Angela to start the Toe Way Series 1. Again, please, let's make the session very interactive and engaging. We'll be sending her all your questions and comments from the chat. So please stay tuned, listen, and I'm very sure the session will be very impactful. Over to you, Ma. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibukum, and thank you, Foko and Nadia, for your lovely interpretations. I wish I could speak French and Portuguese so that this session could be even better, more fluent. But just to say a good afternoon to everyone. Bonjour. I don't know how to say it in Portuguese, but good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to the Toe Way session. Ibuku, thanks. As you know, I've been doing this since 2015, actually, since the entrepreneurship program started in 2015. I've been teaching the Toe Way, so it's quite a while now. It's almost 10 years. So very, very interesting. So let me share my screen. I need to see what to do here. Sorry, just give me a minute, please. I should have done this before. I need help.
Elma, do you want to share with us
so
we can share? Okay.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Share. Where do I go? Okay, got it. Thank you. Can everyone see it now? Apologies for that.
Yes, it sounds showing.
Okay. Okay, so you're all welcome. And I always start this session by asking everyone what you know to be Tony Elumelu, what you know to be his achievements. What achievements of his do you know, and would you like to share with the participants?
We're still waiting to get comments from them, but over to you, Foko. Thank you.
Oui, Madame Angela demande quelle idée vous avez des œuvres de Tony. Vous pouvez écrire dans YouTube et puis on va transmettre. Merci. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foko. Então, a senhora Angela está a perguntar que grandes metas o senhor Tony já alcançou que vocês tenham conhecimento. Escrevam no chat do YouTube.
Okay, so we're starting to get comments. So some are saying he's a founder of UBA. Some are saying he's a philanthropist. Some are saying bringing UBA Bank to light and standards across Africa. Youngest bank manager at 27. Mr. Tony Elumelu is the current chairman of Transcorp. He's an Afri-capitalist. Then another one is a philanthropist, uniting African entrepreneurs, establishing the TF grant on this platform, a successful entrepreneur from an humble background. So those are the comments we're getting from them. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Are you going to interpret or?
Foko, do you want to interpret or check your chat?
Parmi les commentaires, il y a certains qui ont dit Tony est le fondateur de UBA. Tony est l'homme qui, dans l'Afrique, essaie de réunir les entrepreneurs et les former. Tony est un philanthropiste. Donc, voilà quelques commentaires que nous avons eu sur YouTube. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foko. Então, algumas das respostas, comentários que saíram no YouTube é que o Sr. Tony é um filantropista, é um africapitalista, é o fundador do Banco BEA, e foi o gerente de banco muito novo, aos 27 anos. Enfim, esses são alguns dos comentários. Madame Angela, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, those are very good responses, and thank you for them. So, because we're teaching the TOE way, like I said, I always like to start by asking everyone what they know about his achievements. And let's just summarize some of his achievements. You know, TOE's achievements are quite a lot, but let's just capture some of which you've already captured in what Ibukun shared with us. So someone said he was the youngest branch manager, you said at 27. So he was the youngest branch manager at 26. In 1997, at the age of 34, he acquired the distressed Crystal Bank, rebranded it as Standard Trust Bank, and transformed it into a top 5 player in the Nigerian banking industry. He was the youngest bank CEO at 34. In August 2005, so almost 18 years ago, right? Almost 20 years ago, am I right? He conceived and executed the groundbreaking STB and UBA merger, the largest financial services merger in sub-Saharan Africa. So someone said he was the founder of UBA. UBA pre-existed at the time of 2005. UBA has been in existence since 61. And, but, you know, the merger took place in 2005. And that's what's the current UBA today. UBA has since transformed into a Pan-African bank, you know, in 20 African countries, including Nigeria, 3 continents. Actually, is it 3 continents? It's in Africa, it's in Europe, okay, and it's in the US, and it's in Asia, the Middle East. So it's 4 continents, I should update that. Created wealth for shareholders over 6,000% in 13 years while he was CEO. You know, the list goes on and on. Someone talked about him being an Afri-capitalist. He acquired Transco in 2011 and Transco Ugeli Power in 2013. He's received various awards, MFR in 2003, CON in 2012, and CFR, the most recent, last year in 2022. He has lots of awards. Someone's talked about him being a philanthropist, an African philanthropist, a leading investor. Time 100 has, given him awards for top 100 most influential people in the world. Belgium has also recognized him. Time recognized him again in 2022. Thierry sits on various boards. He's founder and chairman of Hess Oil and Gas, and he sits on a number of public and social sector boards. So quite a lot of achievements. And last weekend, Thierry was, he spoke to some teenagers, and I lifted this quote from that session with the teenagers. He says, so having listened to all these achievements that I've just listed, I thought it apt to speak to one of the points he raised at that session, where he said, I didn't become the chairman of UBA Group and Transcorp Group because I had wealthy parents, or I went to the best schools, or because I was the most intelligent in my state or country. Your circumstances today must not define your future. So as much as he's achieved all this, he's saying it did not come from a privileged background. And I think that's something that's very instructive to note. And he's saying that even though you don't come from a privileged background, you don't have to stay down. You can rise above that and achieve, many great things. I don't know whether I should pause here for Nadia and Foko to interpret before I go on.
Okay, thank you, madam. Can you go back, please? Please.
You don't have this?
No. Ok, donc nous allons partager avec vous quelques œuvres de Tony, ce qu'il a pu accomplir dans sa vie, pour que vous sachiez bien de qui il s'agit. Donc, il a été honoré comme le meilleur manager à l'âge de 26 ans d'une banque à l'âge de 26 ans. En 1997, à l'âge de 34 ans, il a travaillé à Crystal Bank. Il a eu à transformer aussi la Standard Trust Bank. Toujours à l'âge de 34 ans, il a été le meilleur directeur général. Il a été directeur général à 34 ans d'une banque. En 2005, il a accompagné la convergence ou bien la fusion de Standard Trust Bank et UBA. Il a aussi eu, je ne vais pas tout lire, c'est juste un résumé. Il a aussi permis que UBA, déjà le groupe UBA, quand c'est transformé, parte d'une banque locale du Nigeria pour une banque panafricaine, où elle est aujourd'hui présente dans pratiquement 20 pays et dans 4 continents. Donc, il a beaucoup d'œuvres, comme par exemple, il est un Afri-capitaliste. Il a beaucoup investi dans la philanthropie. Il a une société qu'on appelle Transcorp, Transnational Corporation. Il a des concessions pétrolières avec Oil and Gas, une société pétrolière. Il a été reconnu dans le monde entier comme l'un des 100 plus influents par The Times et plusieurs autres magazines. Il est bien évidemment président de Oil and Gas, Oil and Gas, ça je l'ai dit. Donc bref, Tony a eu à mener beaucoup d'œuvres et il est reconnu dans le monde entier comme étant un grand leader. Ça, c'est des choses que vous devez connaître sur lui. C'est quelqu'un qui a beaucoup d'œuvres. Next, please. Donc tout récemment, il a eu à partager avec des jeunes et il y a cette phrase qui a retenu l'attention. Il dit qu'il n'est pas le PDG ou le chairman de UBA Group ou de Transcorp parce que dû à ses parents ou bien à son école ou tout autre, ou parce qu'il est trop intelligent, non. Il dit, vous devez savoir que ce sont les circonstances qui doivent vous permettre de définir votre futur. Comme pour dire que ce n'est pas des prédispositions particulières qui font être ce qu'il est. C'est parce que lui, à chaque temps, il essaie de se battre pour être le maître de son futur. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foucault. Ok, então, aqui nós temos algumas das conquistas do Sr. Tony Elumelu. Como já foi dito aqui, ele tornou-se o gerente do banco aos 26 anos, portanto, muito jovem. Aos 34 anos, ele participou na compra de um banco, o Crystal Bank, que é um banco que estava praticamente falido, e transformou com um novo nome no Standard Trust Bank, que acabou por se tornar um dos 5 maiores bancos da Nigéria. Ele tornou-se o CEO aos 34 anos, ainda muito jovem. Ele também conseguiu merger este banco, Standard Trust Bank e o UBA, para transformá-lo no maior banco da região subsaara. Esse banco hoje é presente em mais de 19 países, em 3 continentes. O Sr. Tony Elumelu é considerado uma das 100 pessoas, já apareceu no Time 100, quer dizer que é uma das 100 pessoas mais influentes do mundo. Ele tem vários como é que se diz, reconhecimentos a nível do mundo, prêmios e por aí. É hoje também dono de uma empresa do setor petrolífero. Ele é também faz parte da equipa de administração da Heirs Holding, que é uma empresa de seguros e afins na Nigéria. Portanto, há muitas coisas que o senhor Tony já conquistou. Madam Angela, please, can you move to the next? Ok, thank you. Na semana passada, ele esteve numa conversa com alguns adolescentes e essa frase que ele citou, a senhora Angela achou muito interessante trazê-la aqui e partilhar convosco. O senhor Tony disse que ele não se tornou hoje o boss do grupo UBA porque ele nasceu de uma família rica, ou porque teve um pai rico, ou porque estudou nas melhores escolas, ou porque era o mais inteligente do seu país ou da sua cidade. Não, esse não é a origem dele. Portanto, não deixem que as circunstâncias que vocês vivem hoje definam o vosso futuro. Vocês podem definir o vosso futuro como querem. Obrigada. Madame Angela, over to you.
Thank you. So Thierry says, and I'm going to, in the Thierry way, I'm going to quote Thierry a lot. I'm going to use, after all, it's the Thierry way. I'm going to use examples from his achievements to buttress the point about the Thierry business value, and obviously talk about what the literature says about the particular business value. I'll summarize that. So Thierry says, looking back, I find that there's a certain work ethic, a certain way that I do business, which has contributed to my achievements. I would like these business values institutionalized for posterity. Over the course of my career, I have learned that when you achieve a certain amount of experience and a certain amount of success, it is important to reflect on what principles, what practices and decisions led you to success. That's what we're going to be sharing over these 4 sessions. When you find those key elements, it is important to pass that knowledge along so that others may learn from your success and also from your mistakes. So that's what we're going to try and do. So the Thierry way leverages the value-enhancing assets of Thierry, his name, obviously, Tony Onyemechi Elumelu, his history, his legacy, his track record, his personality traits, his brand, his quality and excellence, and basically his way of doing business. These values are derived from his business beliefs, his practices, his culture, his philosophy, etc. So we're going to be spending time talking about, over the next 4 days, today, tomorrow, and next couple of days next week, foresight, creativity, resilience, timely delivery, results-driven, precision and rigor, institutionalization, human capital, culture. We're going to be talking about all these and more. rewarding performance, no sentiment, zero tolerance for corporate, all these we're going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks, over 4 sessions. So we'll go into detail on that. So let's start with the first one, but before that, let me give Nadia and Foko time to interpret the introduction.
Okay, thank you, Madam. Please, can you go back, please?
You have that. You don't have that?
No.
Okay.
Ok, thank you. Donc, nous sommes sur le partage des valeurs d'affaires de Tony. Et durant 4 sessions, nous allons échanger avec vous sur ces valeurs d'affaires qu'il aimerait qu'on institutionnalise pour la postérité. Donc, il dit en fait, quand il regarde en arrière, il se rend compte qu'il a une certaine façon de travailler. Et cette façon de travailler a permis qu'il puisse accomplir tout ce qu'il a fait jusqu'à aujourd'hui. Et il aimerait donc que ce soit institutionnalisé pour la postérité. Il dit, durant toute sa carrière, il a beaucoup appris afin de pouvoir faire un certain nombre de choses et son expérience a permis d'avoir beaucoup de succès. Il dit qu'il est donc important de partager tous ces principes, ces pratiques qui peuvent permettre de prendre des décisions pour la réussite. Et il dit, quand on a découvert tous ces éléments, c'est important d'avoir ces connaissances et de les partager avec les autres pour le succès, que ce soit ce qui a permis qu'ils réussissent ou ce qui a permis, ou ses erreurs. OK, next, please. Donc, il dit c'est important de tirer parti de toute cette valeur pour pouvoir avoir des actifs. Ces valeurs, c'est quoi? C'est par exemple son nom, son histoire, ce qu'il veut laisser comme héritage, la traçabilité de ses activités, sa personnalité, sa marque, sa qualité, son excellence. Et c'est ça donc qu'on a appelé la façon de faire de Tony. Donc, c'est la façon de faire le business de Tony. Next, please. Il dit que ces valeurs ont permis qu'il ait des croyances d'affaires, des pratiques, et pratiquement toute une philosophie, une culture liée à son nom, Tony Elumelu. Next, please. Donc, c'est ça dans la marque Toe Way, laquelle marque va être partagée pendant 4 séries, comme je l'ai dit, à travers les valeurs d'entreprise, les valeurs d'exécution et les valeurs d'excellence qui sont citées dans le cadran. Vous aurez tous ces supports après. N'oubliez pas de remplir la fiche de présence comme d'habitude. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foko. Ok, então, durante essa sessão nós vamos estar a falar muito sobre, a citar as expressões ou as frases usadas pelo Sr. Tony, ok? Ele aqui diz que ele, quando olha para trás, vê a forma como ele fez os seus negócios, o seu caminho, a forma como ele fez as coisas, levou ao que ele alcançasse o que alcançou hoje, a conquista que ele teve. E ele gostaria de passar essas informações para a posteridade, quer dizer, para que os outros possam aproveitar disso e poder também construir a sua carreira. Madame Angela, can move forward, please. Então, o que é o caminho do Toe, que é basicamente seguir, ter a oportunidade de seguir aquilo que o Sr. Tony coloca perante nós para melhorarmos e termos sucesso. Usar o nome, a história, o legado, os registros, a personalidade, a marca, enfim, tudo isso para aplicar no vosso negócio e fazer bem o negócio. Please, can you move forward? Again, acreditar nos valores do Sr. Tony, quer dizer, as práticas, a cultura, a filosofia, tudo, leva-os basicamente ao sucesso. Can you move this to the last one? This is not okay? Então, basicamente, o caminho do Sr. Tony tem três E's, tem tudo que ele, todos os seus valores. A empresa, a execução, a excelência. Tudo passa por esses 3 passos. Nós vamos ver, são muitos os caminhos, nós vamos começar com a ideação, e vocês vão ver daqui a pouco, a Madame Angela vai falar sobre isso. Madame Angela, please, you can start.
Thank you. So we're going to start with the first business value, which is ideation. And what TOE says about ideation is that ideas can come from anyone or anywhere. And what the literature says is ideas can be top down. Ideas do not have to come from the subject matter expert. Ideas can come from anyone in the organization, regardless of hierarchy. Ideas can come from your customers. Ideas can come from outside your industry. Ideas solve market needs and essentially make your ideas a reality. On ideation, I once was at a session where Thierry was speaking about ideation. I mean, he was commenting on something, and he says, at that meeting, he was saying, he reviews emails thoroughly for ideas. When someone sends him a mail, he looks very closely. He says, because great ideas can come from anyone. So when someone sends him a mail, he reviews it thoroughly. Says at the internal meetings, he listens attentively to what others are saying at a meeting. Because, ideas can come from anyone at that time. And then he says, take a look at what's happening in the rest of the world. Inevitably, it'll happen in your local market. So if, for instance, you're in the tech industry, you want to check what's going on in the tech industry in other markets, because inevitably it'll happen in your market. But Thierry says everyone dreams dreams, that's the easiest thing to do. But what is important is not the ability to dream, but how you translate the dream into action and reality. Says that energy and discipline that you apply to translate a dream, an idea, a vision to reality is the defining force. Nobody will reward you for having great ideas, but you will be rewarded for having outcomes and what you have achieved. I remember this from, I think it must have been 2016 or so, that TF had this. It says, with every societal challenge comes a business opportunity. I'm sure that after COVID or during COVID, so many opportunities came about. Logistics, the whole thing of logistics, even, virtual meetings, etc. New business opportunities came about. I'm sure each of you, and maybe we want to spend time getting some ideas from you there and saying, what are the business opportunities that you think came out of the societal challenge of COVID? I'm pausing now. And so maybe I want to bring, maybe Foucault and Nadia want to interpret and then bring this question about.
OK, donc la première valeur de business que nous allons voir aujourd'hui, ça s'appelle l'idéation. Donc, comment est-ce qu'on génère les idées? OK, next please. Donc, l'idéation, l'idée peut venir de n'importe où, peut venir de n'importe qui et n'importe où. Donc, ça peut venir next, ça peut venir du haut vers le bas comme du bas vers le haut. L'idée peut aussi venir de tout sujet, quelle que soit l'expertise ou quel que soit le domaine. L'idée peut venir de n'importe qui dans une organisation sans tenir compte de son rang hiérarchique. L'idée peut venir des clients. L'idée peut venir aussi de l'environnement du secteur dans lequel on intervient. L'idée peut venir des besoins d'une solution à un besoin qu'il y a sur le marché, autant que ça peut aussi venir de la réalité qu'on a sur le terrain. Next, please. Donc, Tony, par exemple, souvent peut s'inspirer à travers les mails. Il parlait, se rappeler des mails qu'il a reçus. Il parlait relire et puis ça l'inspire. Voilà où aussi une idée peut venir. Ça peut venir d'une réunion interne. Donc, lors d'une réunion, quelqu'un, face à son intervention, son feedback, inspire la société et voilà comment peut naître une idée pour un projet ou pour une entreprise. Tout comme l'idée peut aussi venir de toute observation qu'on a dans le monde en fonction des choses qui peuvent arriver dans un marché local. Next, please. Donc, on va partager cette première pensée où Tony dit, tout le monde peut avoir un rêve. C'est facile de l'avoir, mais le plus important, c'est la capacité à transformer ce rêve, à le traduire en action et en réalité. C'est cette énergie et cette discipline pour pouvoir s'appliquer et transcrire son rêve ou son idée ou sa vision en réalité qui est une réelle force. Il dit personne ne vous récompensera pour avoir eu une grande idée, mais ce qui est sûr, vous serez récompensé s'il y a des fruits qui jaillissent de l'idée que vous avez eue à travers votre accomplissement. Next, please. Et pour finir, il y a cette autre idée où Tony dit toute une idée ou une opportunité d'affaires peut venir de tout défi au sein de la société. Ça veut dire qu'en réalité, quels que soient les challenges et les défis que nous avons dans la société, un bon entrepreneur peut transformer ça en une idée d'affaires qui peut l'enrichir. Thank you. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foucault. Então, a primeira lição de hoje, do Sr. Tony, é a ideação. O que é a ideação? O que é que ele diz com ideação? Ele diz que ideias podem vir de qualquer lado e de qualquer pessoa. Não importa o status da pessoa, não importa o ambiente em que a pessoa está inserida. Quer dizer que ele tem três pontos que ele precisa que vocês levem convosco sobre a ideação. Número 1 é ler bem a prática que ele faz. Portanto, essas são as coisas que ele faz muito. Ele lê muito bem os seus e-mails. Ele lê e relê para entender bem, para ver se não há alguma ideia ali para alguma solução, algum problema ou alguma coisa. Enfim. O segundo ponto é escutar sempre nas reuniões internas. Quer dizer, quando está na reunião com o staff, com a equipa, deixa todos falar e escuta de todos. Não tem que ouvir simplesmente dos chefes, dos diretores e não ouvir dos outros. Okay? O terceiro ponto é que nós temos sempre que olhar para o que é que acontece no outro lado do mundo. Para além do local onde nós estamos, nós temos que ser capazes de nos estender mais e ver para além. Portanto, é prestar atenção, porque a ideia pode vir do seu negócio, mas pode vir de algo fora do seu setor, pode vir de um funcionário baixo, pode vir de um funcionário alto, pode vir de um cliente, enfim, a ideia pode vir de qualquer lado e de qualquer pessoa. E aqui, um pensamento para levarem convosco é que aqui está essa frase que diz que em cada desafio que surge numa sociedade, surge com ele várias oportunidades para negócio. O exemplo que a dona Ângela deu hoje é o Covid. Quando surgiu o Covid, que todos viram como parecia que era o fim do mundo, foi oportunidade para muitos negócios. Exemplo, formas de meeting, reuniões à distância, empresas de logística, entregas, enfim. Portanto, há oportunidade sempre que há um desafio. O que é importante é prestar atenção às ideias e não importa de onde elas vêm. Madame Angela, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to hear from everyone now. I hope everyone asked the question. Foucault and Nadia, I hope you asked everyone the question. What are the societal challenges? You know, what business opportunities do they think came out of the societal challenge of COVID? So I'd like to hear from everyone on this, please.
Okay, so I'll just start then. Okay, Foucault, go ahead, Foucault. I'll go after you.
S'il vous plaît, veuillez nous partager sur YouTube quels sont les défis de la société que vous croyez qu'on peut transformer en une affaire, en une entreprise. Donc, on va vous écouter. Veuillez écrire sur YouTube, s'il vous plaît. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foucault. Então, a senhora já está a colocar aqui uma questão. A questão é, quais são os desafios que vocês enfrentam agora na vossa sociedade? Quais são esses desafios? Obrigada. Então, Madame Angela, over to you.
Over to me. I'm waiting for responses.
Yes, there are quite a number of responses. So there's logistics. So someone is saying logistics in terms of delivering businesses. Then someone else said it boosted a lot of online businesses. Another person is saying the COVID-19 pandemic makes made a lot of people know that business is legacy. Learning a skill is very good, and entrepreneurs, no matter how small, were able to feed their families. So more online trading and less human interaction in businesses came about. There was more logistics, ordering food online, virtual training classes through the COVID pandemic. Online businesses were boosted. Someone said hand sanitizer businesses started through COVID. Someone said use of social media for business increased during COVID and beyond. Someone else is saying COVID has taken most businesses online. Then someone else is saying we now have telemedicine, which means engaging your doctor without having to go to the hospital. Then another person is saying COVID enhanced the use of e-commerce. Then there's another one here. The societal challenges includes the digitalization of businesses. I think it's still the same thing. They're repeating the same thing. Then someone said Zoom became more popular during COVID, which is the platform. Yes. So those are the comments that are coming in.
So if you listen to all the responses are basically around embracing technology.
Yes.
You know, be it online businesses, you know, be it virtual meetings, you know, whatever you've seen, that everybody's response is around the whole concept of digitization, you know what I mean? So that was a huge business opportunity that came out of COVID. And, you know, everybody embraced technology, and it would be interesting to see, as you all do your business plans, how you have embraced technology, how you've taken advantage of online shopping, online businesses to expand your reach. You know, and it's not even just online, there's remote working, you know, some people, you know, you're able to employ people that are not even in your geography. So there's all sorts of opportunities that have come up as a result of, you know, the societal challenge of COVID. I don't know whether the French and Portuguese audience have picked up what I said, because I think I should go on with other examples, and then we can take the feedback from the French and the Portuguese at the end of this ideation session. So let me just go on with some other examples. So another example of, you know, like I said, I'm going to share Thierry's quotes, I'm going to give examples, and I'm going to also talk about what the literature says about the particular business value. So Red TV, I don't know how many of you know about Red TV, but Red TV is a YouTube channel powered by UBA. And the idea came up in 2016, about August, about this time in 2016. And by December, it had been executed. And the idea came up, you know, from the subject matter expert. So, you know, that's an example of, you know, making sure that you translate your idea to reality very quickly, because it came up in August and it was translated in December, and it came from the subject matter expert. Another example is when STB hired from a fast food chain, they hired staff to play the customer service role from a fast food chain, from hotels and airlines. You know, and when I get your feedback at the end, I'd like to hear from you why you think STB did that. Why do you think they hired staff? So STB was the bank pre the merger with UBA, the bank that Thierry turned around, and they hired staff to play the customer service role from a fast food chain, from hotels and airlines. So there's a commonality to those three industries, and you may want to tell me what that is all about when you give me feedback later. The third example was Thierry's daughter. I mean, that in this picture, she's a teenager, but now she's 21, and she's just recently graduated from LSE. But at this time, his first daughter, you know, did an internship with the Tony Elumelu Foundation and Hairs Holdings, and she came up with brilliant ideas to what TEF and UBA could be doing. And one of the ideas she came up with was inspired by a T-Mobile advert, where a celebrity, Justin Bieber, had been used in the advert, resulting in a huge growth in online views for T-Mobile. So you remember Thierry's quote, ideas can come from anyone or anywhere. And then remember what the literature says, it can come from outside your industry. And remember the example of hiring from airlines, hotels, and fast food chains. So what Oge has basically done is her idea came from outside the banking industry, so from a telecoms industry, and from a celebrity, Justin Bieber, and the idea at the time came from a teenager. So Oge at the time was a teenager. So ideas can come from anyone and anywhere, and we need to be open to that. Another example is UBA's chatbot, which was branded Leo, as an idea that came from someone who worked with Thierry, and that idea basically it came from the whole concept of, we've all heard of Siri for Apple. So the whole idea was to brand our chatbot, and it was branded Leo. So let me get all the feedback on ideation before we go into the next one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have to share the feedback of Francophone. I'll also resume one from Anglophone that Ibukun read. Ok, donc tout à l'heure, on vous a demandé qu'est-ce que vous pensez comme défi de la société qui peut pousser à une idée d'entreprise. Bon, on n'a pas précisé, il s'agissait beaucoup plus de la COVID comme exemple. Donc, Ibukun a partagé avec nous des exemples de changements qu'on a eu pendant la COVID. Comment est-ce que le business de formation en ligne a explosé? Comment est-ce qu'on était obligé de ne plus se déplacer? Du coup, certains services d'expédition ont bien fonctionné. On a aussi eu comme retour des francophones le business des influences qui jusqu'à aujourd'hui continue à prendre beaucoup de place. C'est depuis la COVID qu'on a eu ce type de business. Donc, il y a eu beaucoup de métiers qui sont apparus liés au défi qu'on a eu en 2020 à travers la COVID-19. Donc, voilà quelques retours qu'on a eus. Donc, Madame Angela a aussi partagé quelques idées d'idéation. Là, elle vient de finir avec l'exemple de la première fille de Tony qui, pendant une réunion, a proposé qu'on s'inspire d'une publicité sur T-Mobile avec Justin Bieber. Et comme on vous l'a dit, l'idée peut venir de n'importe où, ça peut même venir hors de l'entreprise. Donc, on lui avait dit de faire une présentation et cela a inspiré. On a aussi Léo qui est le chatbox de UBA. Avec Léo, vous pouvez faire des opérations sur Messenger, aussi sur WhatsApp. Vous pouvez faire toutes vos opérations sur WhatsApp, opérations bancaires de UBA. On a aussi Red TV. Red TV qui est la chaîne de télé de UBA, disons ça comme ça, là, un peu de shareholding. Et cette idée de chaîne de télé est apparue lors d'une réunion au mois d'août et en décembre, la chaîne de télé était créée. Donc, voilà des exemples d'idéation. Comme pour dire, on peut passer d'une idée et tout de suite, on passe à l'action. La prochaine valeur qu'on va partager, c'est la créativité. Donc, over to you, Nadia.
Thank you, Coco. Ok, então, quando se pediu exemplos de desafios que estão a viver na sociedade nesse momento, as pessoas falaram muito de exemplos de negócios de Covid, que surgiram com o Covid, ok? Então, a senhora Ângela deu aqui alguns exemplos próprios que ela tinha preparado, que ela falou da Rede TV, a Rede TV que é uma televisão, um sistema que foi pensado, a ideia surgiu em agosto e em 2016, em dezembro do mesmo ano já estava implementada. Essa ideia surgiu de alguém que era do setor, portanto as ideias podem surgir da pessoa do setor, mas ela também falou aqui, no exemplo, quando houve, lembra-se que falou-se do banco, o Standard Trust Bank, o que o senhor Tony adquiriu e mudou de nome. Então, quando eles fez a aquisição desse banco, uma das coisas que fez para recrutar as pessoas para tratarem dos clientes, as pessoas no atendimento ao cliente, eles foram buscar pessoas da cadeia fast food, de hotéis e de companhias aéreas. Porque são pessoas que estão mais habituadas a lidar com o cliente no dia a dia, eles seriam mais capazes para esse papel. De novo, aqui, essas pessoas não são do sector, são pessoas do outro sector. Para ver a diferença de onde é que a ideia veio. Aqui nós temos o terceiro exemplo de que a ideia vem de qualquer lado, ou de qualquer pessoa, quando a filha do senhor Tony Elumelu, que ainda na altura uma adolescente, foi fazer uma visita, estava a fazer um estágio na empresa do pai, e ela teve uma ideia que ajudou imensamente a empresa. A ideia que ela teve baseou-se numa publicidade que ela via da T-Mobile é americana, onde o ator que vocês conhecem, o Justin Bieber, o ator-cantor, fazia essa publicidade. Ela, como adolescente que viu isso, achou que seria algo semelhante que ajudaria o negócio do pai, ela apresentou essa ideia. Portanto, ideias vêm de qualquer lado e de qualquer pessoa, ok? Outro exemplo aqui é o Leo, que é aquele, como se diz, o tipo robô que está do outro lado a responder às questões, no caso do UBA. Então, quando o cliente tem problemas, ele é aquele virtual, o banco virtual, que vai respondendo, dando resposta aos problemas do cliente. Portanto, a ideia vem de qualquer lado e de qualquer pessoa. Ok? Nós vamos, de seguida, ver o segundo caminho, a segunda lição do Sr. Tony, que é sobre a criatividade. Ok? Madam Angela, over to you. Thank you.
Okay, so do I get any feedback on all the questions I'd asked, Ibukun? Any feedback?
There's a lot of them are still typing, but let me see. So what they're saying now is it's just a repetition of what you had taught earlier. Ideas can come from one's daily life experience. Someone here is also saying ideation is key in creating a future. Another one here says ideas comes out of necessity. Our minds need to encounter challenges for ideas to come. Then there's another one.
Has anyone responded to the question I asked about?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Why
It's
STB
just
hired from airlines, hotels, and
okay. So there's one that just came in. Personnel from hotel, airlines, and fast food industry are well trained in hospitality. So that's one. Then another one here says STB hired from Mr. Biggs, hotels and airlines to play customer service roles because they believe they're well experienced, know how customers have multiplier effects and major player in growth. Another one said they were the industries known for customer service. Another one saying the three industries prioritize customer satisfaction and service delivery. That's why STB was deliberate with the search. And then the others is pretty much the same thing, customer service delivery. Thank you.
Okay. So basically, just to summarize the response to that, the main reason is that they're all from the service industry. So whether it's banking, whether it's hotels, whether it's airlines, whether it's fast food, it's all the service industry. So that's the commonality. So just to leave that point with you. So let's move on to creativity as the next business value. And I'm going to move faster now. And here he says, understand the dynamics, the distinguishing and competitive factors of the industry you play in and how to disrupt the market. So, and the literature basically says disruptive innovation is about creating new markets and discovering new categories of customers. Creativity is the generation of ideas that are novel, useful, and appropriate. So, going back to discovering new categories, so we can say technology disrupted the market during COVID because, we had new categories of customers, we've all talked about online shopping and online businesses. So that was disruptive. So giving an example of from TOA's achievements, when STB went into all the state capitals in Nigeria. So to give some background, at the time that STB came into being, when TOA turned around STB, was at a time when these banks were called new generation banks. They were new to the Nigerian market, to the banking industry in Nigeria. They were run by young professionals. And one of the key things that these new generation banks did was to link all the branches, all their branches online real time. Now, most of the new generation banks just probably went into 4 cities. They went into Lagos, they probably went into Port Harcourt, went into Kano, maybe went into Warri. So not more than 4 cities, most of the new generation banks. But, and so they linked those branches online real time, as opposed to the old generation banks where, they were not linked online real time. And STB did something, so going back to what Theo says, understand the market. It says, understand the dynamics, the distinguishing and competitive factors. So he understood that the distinguishing and competitive factor was to have branches that were online real time, that were linked online real time, so that you could facilitate transfers speedily. And what he did was to go to all the state capitals. So Nigeria has 36 states. So as opposed to the other new generation banks who probably only went to 4 cities and probably maximum of 4 states, STB went into all the 36 state capitals. Now, clearly that was disruptive. So that was one thing that STB did. Another thing that STB did was to permit customers to open bank accounts with 0 balances. In those days, if you wanted to open an account with a bank, you had to have a minimum balance. So STB removed that requirement, and so anyone could open an account with no balance. And then financial services were therefore available to the unbanked. It's been, so the whole idea is to democratize access to banking. It's called financial inclusion, as we all know. And this has been replicated across UBA in 19 countries across Africa, in addition to Nigeria. Today, UBA opens 500,000 customer accounts every month, and now has over 30 million customers, over 630 branches and customer touch points, 2,100 ATMs, 420,800 POSs, as well as other robust online and mobile banking platforms and social media. So UBA has really extended its reach beyond, having branches linked online real time in 36 states. It's extended that whole concept to further democratize access to banking, not only in Nigeria, but across Africa. So this is a real example of disruption. And, it's one thing for me to say so, it's one thing for Theo to say so, it's one thing for us to say, if you're part of the system, to say that, yes, this is what Theo did. But it's another thing to see it in the newspaper and somebody else, a third party, write about it. And so it gladdened my heart in 2017 when I saw this article in This Day Live, and the person was talking about, what I've just talked about. And they said, actually, when you think of disruption, you think of technology. Remember, we've talked about technology being disruptive when we talked about the context of COVID. It says you think of technology. In Nigeria, think of the banking industry. And then it goes on to list some banks and how they disrupted their industry that changed the face of the banking industry and the way we bank in the country. It says Tony Elumelu, who parented Standard Trust Bank, that later acquired United Bank for Africa, is another example. It was STB that first opened savings accounts for students with no initial deposit. Remember, I talked about no balance. The bank attracted large base of customers, mostly young people. It says, I remember how the National Youth Service Corps members flooded the STB located on Obakran Avenue in Ikeja, Lagos, to open an account back in the day. So this is the third party writing, about democratization of banking and, access to banking services, and citing UBA and TOE as an example of disruption. So this was good to see. Thierry says the rare type of leaders are those that have the ability to think and do. says ensure your idea is not obsolete before you implement it. Remember the example I gave of Red TV, how the subject matter expert had come up with the idea in August and by December had implemented it. So ensure your idea is not obsolete before you implement it, because other people can steal your ideas, you can have staff leave, etc. So think and do, think and execute, think and accomplish in a timely manner. So I'll pause there for interpretation, for translation.
OK, thank you. Donc, nous allons donc passer à la créativité, qui est la prochaine valeur que Tony met au devant. Il commence par donner ce dicton, que généralement, vous devez comprendre le dynamisme qu'il y a dans votre environnement, distinguer les facteurs de compétitivité de votre secteur d'activité. Ça permet de pouvoir savoir comment gérer la disruption qu'il y a dans le marché. Ça, c'est quelque chose d'important. Alors, Angela partage avec nous les valeurs de Tony concernant la créativité lorsqu'il était directeur à la Standard, lorsqu'il a pris la Standard Trust Bank. Il a par exemple créé ce qu'on appelait les nouvelles générations de banques. Parce qu'à l'époque au Nigeria, les banques étaient dans les différentes villes, mais elles n'étaient pas liées entre elles. Donc, ce que Tony a fait, c'était déjà de lier toutes les banques entre elles à temps réel. Ça veut dire que quand vous étiez dans une ville, vous ne pouvez pas faire une opération tant que votre compte n'était pas dans cette ville-là. Donc, il a permis que cela puisse être possible. Donc, comme autre valeur, il a comme autre chose disruptive, Tony a permis que dans les banques, qu'on ne puisse plus demander le minimum de dépôt. Donc, quand vous venez pour ouvrir un compte, qu'on ne vous demande pas un dépôt, un frais pour les frais d'ouverture de compte ou bien un solde de départ. Donc, il a permis que vraiment la banque soit démocratique. Ça, c'est autant de choses que Tony a permis qu'il puisse arriver dans le secteur bancaire. Et il est même allé très loin parce que au-delà des banques, de l'interconnexion des banques entre elles au Nigeria, ça se passe même dans toute l'Afrique, dans tous les pays où il y a les banques UBA. Il vous est possible de faire les opérations sans formalités bizarres qu'on a souvent au sein des banques. Donc, voilà quelque chose que Tony a fait en termes de créativité dans ce qu'il a fait dans les banques. Donc, il y a un autre dicton où Tony nous dit la rareté des leaders. Donc, que les vrais leaders sont rares et c'est généralement ceux qui ont la capacité de dire et de faire. En fait, c'est ça. Vous avez vu le cas de Red TV. Red TV, on a proposé en août et en décembre, c'était créé. Ce qui permet quoi? Ça permet que si vous avez une idée, qu'on ne vous la vole pas. Si vous avez une idée et que vous ne passez pas en pratique, il y a de fortes chances que quelqu'un fasse ce à quoi vous avez pensé avant vous. Et on ne dira pas forcément qu'il a volé votre idée parce que c'est lui le premier à passer à l'action, c'est lui le premier à protéger. Donc, on vous encourage, quand vous avez une idée, passez tout de suite à l'action, exécutez. C'est ça qui permet de réagir à temps réel par rapport à votre environnement. Donc, je ne vais pas tout commenter, je vais m'arrêter là pour ce qui concerne la créativité au sein de votre environnement. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foko. Então, como falamos há pouco, o segundo caminho, a segunda lição do Sr. Tony é criatividade. O que é que ele diz? Tens que entender a dinâmica do negócio, o setor onde você está a atuar, para que você possa encontrar a forma de ser disruptor no teu mercado, ok? Essa é uma frase do Sr. Tony Elumelu. Como ele diz que a criatividade é geração de ideia que tem que ser nova, tem que ser realmente com valor, né, usável, e tem que ser apropriada. Portanto, isso é que é ser criativo. E então, nós temos 3 exemplos de criatividade apresentadas aqui no caminho do Sr. Tony Elumelu. Primeiro, ao Banco Novo, ao Standard Trust Bank, vai-se ver como é que eles conseguiram, sendo um banco novo, ser o primeiro a chegar em todo o lado do país. Quer dizer, eles chegaram a todos os estados da Nigéria, um país enorme, e ter uma agência ali presente. Tentaram, portanto, foram disruptor nesse sentido. O segundo exemplo que nós vemos é a desmocratização do acesso ao banco, ao serviço do banco. Os serviços eram burocráticos, os serviços eram bastante limitados, mas o STB veio trazer uma dinâmica diferente em como fazer o banco, democratizar o banco, o serviço do banco na Nigéria. Okay? Tiveram medidas próprias que eles colocaram, por exemplo, o balanço zero, ter um serviço inclusivo financeiro, enfim. E, dessa forma, conseguiram atrair mais pessoas para o seu banco. E depois conseguiram se expandir e chegar até 19 países ao longo da África. Hoje, o UBA, né, o STB acabou por se transformar no UBA, tem mais de 500 mil clientes, tem mais de 630 agências espalhadas em vários países e 3 continentes. Okay? Outro exemplo da democratização do serviço do banco, aqui como nós podemos dizer, o que o senhor Tony nos diz aqui, é que é preciso levar, quando você pensa em disrupção, tem que pensar em tecnologia, ok? Então, eles levaram tecnologia ao serviço do banco na Nigéria, e dessa forma tornaram-se inovadores. Como a ideia é levar para vocês pensarem, nós temos aqui esta frase do Sr. Tony que diz que é raro os líderes que não têm a habilidade de pensar e fazer. Certifica-te de que a ideia não é obsoleta antes de implementá-la. Quer dizer, se você ouvir alguém, você tiver alguma ideia, alguém chegar até ti trazer uma ideia, executa antes que ela fique velha demais ou que outras pessoas acabem por executá-la no seu lugar. Enquanto uns pensam, né, outros agem. Então, esta é a forma de pensar do senhor Tony Elumelu. Ok? É basicamente isso em termos da criatividade. Madame Angela, it's over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So unless there are comments, I'm going to move on and save the comments and give it, let me, and Ibukun, you decide, are there a lot of comments or should I move on? Okay, let me move on. Okay, so the next, oh dear. The next set of business values is syndicating views and management by consensus. So TOE says, be humble, seek advice, and make a decision. It says leaders must develop listening skills and the ability to syndicate varying views. You'll be shortchanging yourself if you don't seek ideas from your staff. You don't know everything. If you have stars, bring their perspectives to the debate. The fact that you listen does not mean that you agree. Listen to the stars among your staff, but be decisive in driving action once a decision is made. So, it's very important that after a decision is made, we all own it, So we've given an opportunity to discuss the views, to hear different views, to hear varying perspectives, to listen. But at the end of the day, once a decision is made, we all own it. We can't say, oh, they decided this, I was thinking this, but at the end of the day, we had the opportunity to speak up and provide a superior argument. And there's always opportunity to provide superior argument. And if your argument doesn't hold water, then you must own the decision of the group. So syndicating views with your peers, as well as more seasoned professionals, provides valuable information to a leader at any level. We're leaders at any level. So for that matter, it's important to syndicate views with those who are younger, less experienced, and not even involved in your field. So, always get a perspective from somebody else, because they'll provide you a perspective that you probably didn't think about. An idea that is formed without input from others is only formed. Why is this important? Put simply, for varied perspective. So, and remember, consensus does not mean unanimity or 100% agreement on all issues on the table. So you can reach consensus without 100% agreement, you know. So consensus, as the literature says, is broad unanimity. You make sure that minority views are heard and given as much consideration as majority views. It results in buy-in because you've had the opportunity to syndicate, to listen to varied perspective. And so everybody, like I said, owns it. You speak with one voice once consensus is reached. Now, to give an example, and this is an example that I really, really like a lot, and it's the example of management by consensus. When the merger took place, most people, you know, the literature basically says that mergers rise and fall on the basis of technology. And we've been talking about technology a lot today. It's interesting that the common thread since the beginning of this conversation has been about technology. So mergers, integrating technology is a key success factor for whether mergers rise and fall. And so following the merger, UBA had to decide which IT system it would adopt. And as I said, this is the heart of any merger, integration, and where many mergers have failed. STB used Finacle, while UBA used FlexQ. In a typical TOA way, this was subjected to a debate. So, but he didn't make the STB people debate, provide arguments for Finacle, and he didn't make the UBA team provide arguments for FlexQ. He flipped it. He got the STB team to present arguments for FlexQ, and he got the Finacle UBA team to present arguments for Finacle. You listen to him from time to time, he'll say, oh, he needs the wisdom of Solomon to make a decision. And this was clearly the wisdom of Solomon. And at the end of the day, consensus was reached to use Finacle. Clearly, there was shared vision. Objectivity was attained because the STB people would have to have researched and found out what are the positives and negatives about FlexQ. Ditto, the UBA team would have had to do the same for Finacle to understand, and it will just make sure that everyone's dispassionate, everyone's objective about the pros and cons, and can provide a recommendation that is objective, and that was done at the end of the day. Biases were removed because, when you have people debate for the other side, biases are removed. So a consensus was reached to use Finacle. Let me pause for the interpretation, or for the translation. I keep saying interpretation. I meant translation.
OK, thank you, Ma. Donc, nous allons passer à la prochaine valeur d'affaires, qui est la syndication des idées. Donc, pouvoir mettre les idées ensemble, et le management, la gestion par le consensus. Donc, Tony dit, généralement, vous devez être humble, chercher des conseils afin de prendre des décisions. Il dit, les leaders doivent développer le sens de l'écoute. C'est une grosse compétence et la capacité à pouvoir varier les points de vue. Donc, ça veut dire mettre les points de vue des différents parties ensemble. Ça permet de pouvoir avoir des idées venant de tout le management de la société. Il dit, vous n'avez pas besoin de tout connaître. Il suffit juste de mettre de mettre la thématique sur la table et de créer un débat. Là, au fil des échanges, on va tirer les différentes idées et pouvoir prendre les décisions ou bien passer à l'action, comme on a dit tout à l'heure. Donc, généralement, il faut écouter tout le monde et pouvoir prendre des décisions qui sont sages. Ça, c'est la syndication des points de vue. Et généralement, lorsqu'on partage les points de vue, ça permet que les pairs puissent partager et les informations sont suffisamment valorisées sur le plan professionnel. Donc, je suis d'aller un peu vite. Il dit aussi, le consensus ne veut pas forcément dire qu'on est à 100%, que tout le monde est d'accord. Non, ce n'est pas ça le consensus. C'est pas ça. Le consensus ne veut pas dire l'unanimité. Donc, mettre tout le monde d'accord, non. Généralement, lorsqu'on fait un débat, on s'accorde et on prend une décision qui va servir pour tout le monde. Il faut donc éviter lorsqu'on veut rendre compte, lorsqu'on fait le rapport, que quelqu'un dise non, je n'étais pas d'accord pour ci, je n'étais pas d'accord pour ça. Non. Lorsqu'on finit et qu'on s'accorde, tout le monde doit s'aligner sur les points de vue mutuels. Vous comprendrez mieux ça lorsqu'on va prendre l'exemple tout à l'heure. Donc, on dit généralement, minority views are heard and given as much consideration as much. OK. Donc, les idées portées par les personnes minoritaires doivent aussi être prises en considération par la majorité. C'est ça qu'on appelle le consensus, en fait. Et que le résultat soit vraiment quelque chose qui, comme on dit, un pour tous, tous pour un. Donc, c'est quelque chose qui anime tout le monde en fin de compte, parce qu'il y a eu un consensus, on a échangé, les points de vue étaient divergents, mais finalement, on prend un point de vue qui arrange la société. Vous allez mieux le comprendre avec l'exemple qu'on a pris. C'est l'exemple de Standard Trust Bank et UBA. Quand les deux banques ont fusionné, il y avait un souci, c'est que l'une des banques utilisait FlexCube et l'autre utilisait Finacle. Alors, qu'est-ce qu'il fallait faire? Qu'est-ce que Tony a fait? Tony a mis tout le monde autour de la table et il a dit, OK, qui sont ceux qui sont pour Finacle? Ils sont allés d'un côté. Qui sont ceux qui sont pour FlexCube? Ils sont allés de l'autre côté. Et maintenant, il les a fait cogner les têtes pour dire, OK, chacun me donne les défauts, les avantages de l'autre partie. Voilà comment tout le monde a discuté. Et finalement, on a fait simple. On a fait une contraction. FlexCube et Finacle, on a donc dit, finalement, le consensus a été de choisir Finacle. Vous voyez qu'il y a eu un débat dérogatoire où tout le monde a donné son point de vue. Donc, voilà comment est-ce qu'on peut manager par le consensus et mettre ensemble les idées des uns et des autres. Le prochain point, c'est Meticulous. On va échanger après que Nadia ait pris la parole. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foucault. Ok, então, o segundo ponto a analisarmos é a distribuição da visão e o gerir por consenso. O que é que isso quer dizer, sindicalizar a visão? Quer dizer que o líder, o Sr. Tony aqui diz-nos que o líder deve ser humilde, deve procurar conselho e deve ser capaz de tomar a decisão, ok? Os líderes devem desenvolver a capacidade de ouvir de todos. Você, como líder, não sabe tudo. Você não é uma estrela. Mas se você tiver estrelas, quer dizer, tem pessoas muito inteligentes no seu o staff, no parte da sua equipa, ouve delas, deixa-las explicar, deixa-las falar, deixa-las dar ideia. E o que não quer dizer que você automaticamente tem que fazer aquilo que ela diz, mas você vai ouvir e depois toma a decisão, porque é aí o papel do líder. Ainda nessa distribuição da visão, quer dizer que você tem que também distribuir entre os colaboradores, entre os colegas. Deve haver a possibilidade das pessoas se comunicarem entre si e entenderem qual é a visão um do outro. Não importa se é mais jovem ou se é mais sênior, se é mais experiente ou menos experiente. Muitas vezes, ideias e soluções vêm de pessoas que nem são assim tão antigas na empresa como nós já vimos há pouco tempo. Okay? Então, quando se fala do gerir por consenso, quer dizer que o consenso não quer dizer 100% de unanimidade. Não é que todos na mesa têm que concordar para ser o consenso. Não, o consenso tem que ser quando se busca a forma de ter a maioridade das pessoas, ok? Basta isso para dizer que é o consenso. O consenso é apenas a maioria da unanimidade. A visão da parte minoritária, das pessoas que são menos influentes, não quer dizer que não tenham valor. Tem valor, mas tem que se considerar em relação ao maioritário. Ok? Então, O consenso quer dizer, basicamente, falar numa só voz. Apesar de que não é 100%, mas há um concordar entre as pessoas da equipe. É basicamente isso quando nós estamos a falar de distribuir a visão e gerir o consenso. E em termos de exemplo, nós devemos ver que eu, como o novo banco BA, como é que a partir de mergir os dois bancos, esse banco surgiu, como é que o sistema de tecnologia evoluiu e teve que se adaptar, não eram dois bancos a mergir-se, cada um tem o seu sistema, mas eles conseguiram encontrar, usando o final, que é uma ferramenta que eles decidiram usar, enquanto um tem o STB usava o final e o UBA usava o Flexcube, eles conseguiram chegar num meio termo para ter um progresso da empresa ou do banco nesse caso. Então, isso quer dizer que houve um consenso aí, primeira coisa. Segunda coisa, houve deixar a visão de todos fazer parte do futuro da equipe. Ok? Obrigada. Madame Angela, over to you.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, yes.
Yes, I hear you. Thank you.
So, Ibukun, are there any questions, comments we asked you?
There's some comments here.
Okay.
Okay. So, but these are general comments, so they're not really tying it to the last question. So someone is saying, it's still the same repetition of thanks for all the insightful teaching. Thank you very much for all the amazing information and teaching. Please, I have asked several, okay, no. So this person is asking for something different. There's another one here. The FlexiCube and Finacle idea is really an eye-opener and a knowledge to keep for future use. Another person is saying, indeed, critical thinkers are solution providers. Another comment here is, one cannot disrupt without technology. Another one is, consensus is very important because when employed, issues will be handled using critical thinking instead of sentiments. Rachel is saying the only wisdom required at that point for consensus was the wisdom of Solomon. These are all the comments from the last question you had. There's no specific question to. It's just the general comments based on the teachings and learnings.
Yeah, I didn't ask the question. I was just looking for feedback.
Okay, comments. Okay, so somebody is asking a question. What's FlexiCube and Finacle? I'm sure a person is just asking, just wondering.
So they're the banking software that like I said, Finacle was the banking software that STB used and UBA uses now, and FlexCube was the banking software that UBA used, but now UBA, the merged entity, now uses Finacle, which is what STB was using. It's a banking software, banking application software.
Okay. So if there are any other comments, I would just chip in to quickly share as we go along. Thank you.
I paused at the end of the last session to ask you if there was feedback, and I was just pausing at the end of this one to see if
Okay. So there are no new feedbacks, just the same one as I've shared. So they're resending the same comments again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if Foko and Nadia want to get any feedback before I go into Meticulous.
Yes, I have somebody asked a question in French. But before I can translate what Ibukun said, donc, il y a quelqu'un qui a posé la question, qu'est-ce que c'est que FlexCube, qu'est-ce que c'est que Finacle? On a répondu en disant, Finacle, c'est le logiciel qui était utilisé par Standard Trust Bank et FlexCube, c'est le logiciel qui était utilisé par UBA. Donc, après la fusion des deux banques, et par la technique qu'on vient de vous montrer, c'est Finacle qui a été adopté. Donc, actuellement, UBA utilise Finacle. Donc, il y a quelqu'un qui a posé une question, il dit, vous avez dit que à UBA, on n'ouvrait pas les comptes, il n'y avait pas de dépôt pour ouvrir les comptes. Que pourquoi est-ce qu'au Tchad, on lui a demandé 50 000? Donc, somebody is asking that we said that to open an account in UBA, there is it is not asked to client to come or to come in with a deposit, but in chat, they ask them to have a deposit while opening an account. I prefer Ma to respond, please.
I'll have ask Buko to take that up with UBA on your behalf.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to Meticulous. Nadia, I assume you don't have any feedback, so I'll just move on to Meticulous.
No questions, no relevant feedbacks, it's just general comments.
Yeah. So Meticulous is the next business value, Toe Way. And Toe says, I'm a voracious reader. When I read more than once. When I read a case study, I read to learn. I learn from other people's mistakes. Remember the quote at the beginning of the session where I said that Thierry says we can learn from his achievements and learn from his mistakes. So he also learns from people's mistakes. Says, I learn from other people's mistakes. I like to know why companies have succeeded or failed. It improves the quality of your decisions. So he's reading a case study to learn, you know, from other people's successes and other people's mistakes. The same way we're here trying to learn about Thierry's achievements and his mistakes as well. He says, don't just read to entertain yourselves, draw lessons. Very, very instructive quote. Being meticulous, the literature says it's about attention to detail, being painstaking, taking extreme care about minute details, being precise, being thorough, and taking notes meticulously. Thierry goes on to say, this is food for thought, voracious reading is the solution to making a difference. I read 2 books on my area of interest every month. The information and knowledge acquired can then be applied in any facet or task that require your attention. Knowledge increases confidence, and confidence is a key attribute for excellence, not only at work, but also in other areas of human endeavor. So later on, when I'm getting feedback, I'd like to hear from you guys which books you've read recently, and you know what are the lessons you've learned from those books. So let me go on. Okay, maybe I should pause for strong branding focus is actually the last one. So let me pause and let Nadia and Foko translate.
Okay, thank you very much. Donc, concernant la valeur méticule, Tony nous dit, il lit vraiment beaucoup de choses. Donc, il lit dans plusieurs domaines. Et il dit quand il lit plus que vous ne pensez. Il lit vraiment plus que la moyenne. Et il dit, quand il lit, c'est pour voir les différents cas et apprendre de ces cas. Quand il lit, il profite des erreurs des autres. Et ça permet, et ça permet de comprendre quand est-ce que les entreprises échouent et quand est-ce que les entreprises réussissent. Ça permet que lui-même, ça l'éclaire en fait pour prendre ses propres décisions. Et il dit, il faut éviter de lire juste pour se cultiver, mais il faut lire pour tirer des leçons. C'est ça le plus important. Donc, maintenant, il y a un autre dicton où il dit, la variété des lectures est la solution pour faire la différence. Il lit normalement 2 livres dans son domaine d'activité ou de ses centres d'intérêt par mois. Les informations qu'il recueille permettent d'augmenter sa connaissance et permettent de s'appliquer dans le secteur dans lequel il évolue. Et ça permet d'aiguiser son attention. Et les différentes connaissances permettent de se mettre en confiance, et la confiance est l'attitude clé pour l'excellence. Donc, il ne faut pas seulement not only at work. Donc, l'excellence, ce n'est pas uniquement sur le plan professionnel, c'est aussi globalement sur le plan de l'humanité, sur le plan de la société, de la relation avec les hommes. Donc, voilà, et on vous dit, on aimerait que vous partagez dans le chat box quels sont les différents livres que vous avez lus. Partagez-nous 2 livres que vous avez lus récemment pour vous enrichir. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foco. Então, a segunda lição, o segundo caminho é a meticulosidade. Então, o senhor Tony é meticuloso e é um leitor voraz. O que é que ele diz? Ele diz, eu sou um leitor voraz. Eu, quando leio, eu leio mais do que uma vez. Se eu leio um caso de estudo, eu leio para tirar dali lição, para aprender alguma coisa. Eu leio para aprender com os erros dos outros. Eu gosto de saber por que umas empresas têm sucesso e por que outras acabam por falir. Isso melhora a minha qualidade de tomar decisões. Então, quando vocês leem, não só leiam para vocês, para entreter-se, leia para tirar dali lições que servam para vocês. Sejam atentos aos detalhes, tomem cuidado aos minutos, sejam precisos, sejam cuidadosos e tomem notas meticulosamente. E para concluir, o senhor Tony diz que a leitura voraz é a solução para fazer uma diferença. Eu li 2 livros na minha área de interesse todo mês. Eu leio 2 livros da minha área de interesse todos os meses. A informação e o conhecimento adquirido podem, então, ser aplicado em qualquer faceta das tarefas que esteja a executar. O conhecimento aumenta a confiança e segurança. É um atributo-chave para a excelência, não só no trabalho, mas também em outras áreas do esforço humano. Ok? Isso é sobre o senhor Tony Elumelu e o fato de ele ser um leitor voraz e ser meticuloso. E aqui a dona Ângela está a perguntar-nos, lançou aqui um desafio, ela pergunta qual foi o último livro que você leu e quando é que foi, ok? Essa resposta é para darem nos comentários no Facebook, perdão, no YouTube. Obrigada. Madame Ângela, over to you.
Thank you, Nadia. So strong branding focus is the last Toe Way for today. Strong branding focus, what Toe has to say, he says, we must know that we are what and how we project ourselves. You are who you say you are. Branding is the soul of an organization. It is what really defines an organization. Our organization should be well represented in various manifestations through our people, our writings, our interactions, our relationships. You may not make a profit in the first or second year. However, as you build brand equity, people will patronize you in the long run. Your brand name must resonate with quality. And so what is a brand? From literature, brand is a name, a term, a design, or other feature that distinguishes one seller's products from those of others. Brands are used in businesses, marketing, and advertising. We all know what a brand is. And in accounting, it's an intangible asset. Brand is a name, a sign, a symbol, a design, or a combination of these elements intended to identify the products and services of one marketer and to differentiate them from those of the competition. So as you guys are building your business plan, building your brand is so important. Small company brands usually take on the personality of the entrepreneur that owns them. So you will find that your organization, as you all are entrepreneurs, would most likely take on your personality. An entrepreneur founder, to a large extent, is the brand, because the personality and the interest of the founder is going to have a lot to do with the way the company is perceived by others. There's all sorts of literature around building a brand. You must communicate customer value, reinforce your market positioning of the company. The brand embodies your offer, your promise to the customer, and how well you deliver on that promise. The brand creates and maintains your reputation and reflects your customers' experience of your organization. And, Warren Buffett says it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about that, you'll do things differently. So think about that as we build a brand for our businesses. As I said, the literature says it's about your business name, the areas you should focus on: your business name, the name of your products and services, your slogan, your logo, the style and quality of your stationery, your product pricing and packaging, your premises, where and how you advertise, how you and your employees dress, how you and your employees behave, your website, your social media presence, your virtual meetings, be it Zoom and Teams, etc. So, pay attention to all this detail. And, the quote earlier from Theo talked about building your brand equity. And, it's the value added by the brand to the product, the added value, of a given brand name provides to a product beyond its functional benefits, so create your brand value. There's some organizations that actually value, there's some brand valuation agencies like Interbrand, etc. And you can Google all this. Social media, we've all talked about how online businesses were we've been able to extend the reach of our businesses online as a result of the societal challenge of COVID that happened a couple of years ago. And there are all sorts of this slide is an old slide, but I put the X for Twitter, as we know, which is the new since Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, sorry, took over Twitter. So this is the X. And 10 social media tips for small businesses. Be active. This is all from literature. Be active. Start where your customers are. Use entertaining and useful content. Images and videos are key. Use high quality visuals. Remember the old saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Don't overanalyze your posts. Understand your customer. Engagement is two-way. Have a plan, set a goal and measure it. Outsource if you need to. You can even outsource to chatbot. I'm joking. ChatGPT. And really there are companies that manage social media. But listen to what Thierry said over the weekend. He says, be careful about social media. It's not everything you see on social media that is real. Do not be drawn in by its influence. It can be misleading at times. That's why discipline is extremely important in your life's journey. So that I thought was very instructive. So as an example of branding, when I did my dissertation, I did it on the transformation of UBA. And one of the things, we talked earlier about the fact that one of the things that cause mergers to fail is the integration of technology. Another challenge that most mergers fail is, mergers face is, what should the brand name be? What should the brand be? And there are very different approaches. And I came across this piece of literature at the time, and it says, it basically leveraged the research that was done by a couple of people in 2006 on 207 mergers and acquisitions that occurred since 1995, and where the transaction value was over $250 million. They conducted, a survey, and there were, like 4 broad options: backing the stronger horse, best of both, different in kind, business as usual. And I zeroed in on the best of both. And under the best of both, there were 3 strategies. And the strategies were where the new organization combines the visual identity of the lead and target companies. So the visual identity of the lead and target companies are combined. Another strategy is where the new organization combines the names of the lead and target companies with a new symbol. So the lead and target companies with a new symbol. Then the third strategy is where the new organization adopts an identity that combines the name and or the visual elements of the lead and target companies. And this is really what UBA did. The STB-UBA merger did. They combined both. They combined the identity. They adopted the identity that combined the name as well as the visual elements. So they took the name of UBA, the color of STB logo, and the STB logo. So they took the visual elements of STB and took the name of UBA. So that was an interesting perspective in terms of branding the merger and merging the brand. So that is it for webinar 1, and I'm going to take comments after Nadia and Fogo share do the translation. I got it right this time. So after they do the translation, then I'll take comments on this last aspect, which was strong branding focus, and any other questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Donc, la dernière valeur qu'on va voir aujourd'hui, c'est se focaliser sur une forte image de marque, sur une forte marque. Donc, pour cela, on va commencer par partager quelques dits de Tony. We must know that we are what and how we project ourselves. Donc, nous devons savoir que nous sommes exactement ce que nous projetons d'être nous-mêmes. Et on est ce qu'on dit. Donc, il dit, la marque doit être l'âme d'une organisation et doit se définir, et doit en réalité définir cette organisation. L'organisation doit pouvoir être représentée à travers plusieurs manifestations où on va rencontrer des peuples, où on aura des écrits, des interactions et des relations. On doit pouvoir tirer, you may not make a profit. OK, on peut ne pas faire des profits la première année lorsqu'on se met en activité, mais toujours est-il que lorsqu'on a bâti une marque, cette marque va se pérenniser et ça fera qu'on pourra rentrer, on pourra son retour sur investissement, une façon de dire que la marque est quelque chose de pérenne sur lequel vous devez beaucoup investir. Et vous allez comprendre tout cela au long de ce développement qui va suivre. On a quelques définitions de Wikipédia sur ce que c'est qu'une marque. La marque peut être le nom, ça peut être un thème, ça peut être une conception, un design. Ça peut se matérialiser à travers le produit, le type de clientèle, la matière première, la personnalité. Donc, globalement, la marque, c'est quelque chose d'important que vous devez mettre au devant lorsque vous avez votre entreprise. Sur le plan comptable, la marque n'est pas tangible, ce n'est pas palpable. Et pourtant, c'est ça qui permet de créer de la valeur. Donc, on attire votre attention sur le fait que, quelle que soit votre entreprise, vous devez avoir une marque et cette marque doit être forte. Ça peut être le nom, ça peut être un signe, ça peut être un symbole. Aujourd'hui, on vous permet de mieux comprendre ce que c'est que la marque et l'importance de la marque au sein de votre entreprise. On dit généralement les petites entreprises, small company brand usually tech, on dit OK, généralement les petites entreprises s'appuient sur la personnalité du promoteur. Ça, c'est la marque, ça, c'est généralement les petites entreprises. Mais généralement, il est important que la marque soit différente. La marque, on va dire la marque de l'individu soit différente de la marque de l'entreprise. OK, je vais aller rapidement. Donc, généralement, la marque sert à communiquer les valeurs auprès des clients. Ça renforce aussi la position sur le marché, ce qu'on appelle le positionnement de l'entreprise. Il faudrait que lorsque les gens pensent à votre entreprise, à votre marque, qu'on vous donne une étiquette, qu'on vous donne un positionnement sur le marché, le standing, voilà ce qu'on appelle le standing. Tout ça, le standing de votre entreprise va dépendre de la communication que vous faites, de ce que représente votre marque, les perceptions que les uns et les autres ont de votre marque sur le marché. Et on dit, ça peut vous prendre 20 ans de bâtir une marque, de bâtir une réputation, mais 5 minutes pour tout perdre. Comme pour dire, généralement, vous devez être très méfiant quant à ce qui est de votre marque. C'est quelque chose de très important qu'on bâtit solidement, tel que nous sommes en train de vous expliquer. Et la marque a quelques focus que vous devez bien savoir. Ça peut être le nom de l'entreprise, ça peut être le nom du produit, le slogan, le logo, le site Internet, la présence sur les réseaux sociaux, les réunions virtuelles à travers Zoom ou Teams. Ça peut être le prix, ça peut être le packaging. Donc, voilà autant d'éléments qui vous permettent de bâtir votre marque et que vous devez prendre en considération. Généralement, il faut donc créer une marque durable. Et une marque durable doit avoir certaines valeurs. Ça doit pouvoir apporter de la valeur ajoutée aux produits que vous avez. Ça doit pouvoir apporter aussi de la valeur ajoutée aux perceptions que les gens ont des fonctionnalités de votre produit. Le plus important, c'est ce que la marque apporte à votre entreprise, ce qu'on appelle les brand equity. Parce qu'une marque, c'est une valeur propre à votre entreprise. Et les clients, généralement, c'est ça que les clients achètent. C'est pour ça que généralement, vous allez voir, quand une marque est forte, on y allie plusieurs produits. Vous pouvez bâtir votre marque à travers un produit, et quand la marque devient forte, on introduit maintenant d'autres produits ou d'autres secteurs d'activité à la même marque. Donc, pour ce qui est de votre présence sur les réseaux sociaux, on a Twitter, on a Facebook, on a LinkedIn. Donc, il y a vraiment plusieurs réseaux sociaux. Il est important pour vous d'être présent sur ces réseaux sociaux. C'est ce qu'on vous a toujours dit. Donc, même pendant que vous suivez cette formation, vous devez savoir que vous devez communiquer en mettant le hashtag de la fondation et de votre promotion, qui est TEF, donc TEF 2023 ou Empower by TEF. Donc, c'est autant de choses que vous devez mettre devant sur les réseaux sociaux. Pour finir, je vais vous donner quelques astuces de votre comportement sur les réseaux sociaux. Vous devez être actif sur les réseaux sociaux. Vous devez commencer où vous êtes. Donc, ne vous prenez pas la tête. Allez auprès de votre marché et communiquez auprès des gens que votre produit peut intéresser. Communiquez utilement. Utilisez les images, utilisez les vidéos. Parce qu'on dit une image vaut 1000 mots. Ça, c'est important. Ne faites pas trop d'analyses ou des débats inutiles quand vous faites des publications. Ce n'est pas important. Cherchez à comprendre votre client parce que le client est roi. Et on dit l'engagement, c'est double sens. Très important de comprendre. L'engagement, c'est double sens. Le client a des attentes vis-à-vis de vous autant que vous avez des attentes vis-à-vis du client. Et un plan de communication. Fixez des objectifs mesurables que vous devez atteindre. Et tenez compte des produits que vous mettez sur le marché qui sont en fonction des besoins des clients. C'est ça qui permet de choisir avec quel réseau social vous devez communiquer. Et Tony finit en disant, tout ce que vous voyez sur les réseaux sociaux n'est pas réel. Donc, faites très attention d'avoir des influences négatives. Parce que ça peut plus vous créer des problèmes que de vous sortir des problèmes. C'est pour ça qu'il est important d'être discipliné et d'être très extrêmement fin tout au cours de votre aventure entrepreneuriale. Thank you. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foucault. Ok, então, para finalizar, nós vamos falar de forte foco na marca. Ok? O que é que o senhor Tony fala-nos aqui sobre a marca? Ele diz que, basicamente, a marca de uma empresa é aquilo que o seu empreendedor é. Ok? Você é quem você diz que é. E a marca da sua empresa é a alma da sua empresa. Então, a tua organização tem que estar bem representada em todos os aspectos, nas manifestações, seja no aspecto escrito, na interação com outros relacionamentos, em tudo. Porque é o valor que a tua empresa tem. E como é que você pode... eu não vou entrar aqui em detalhes em definições da marca que foram retiradas do Wikipedia, vocês qualquer um podem fazer isso. Ok? Mas dizer que, para uma empresa pequenina, a marca da empresa acaba por ser a marca do seu dono, do seu empreendedor. Como muitos de nós somos empresas pequeninas que começamos agora, aquilo que nós representamos é aquilo que o cliente vê como a nossa empresa. Portanto, é muito importante vocês colocarem aqui um foco na vossa imagem, porque a marca que você cria tem que ser capaz de comunicar valores aos teus clientes e reforçar o posicionamento da sua empresa. Nós temos aqui um comentário que o senhor Warren Buffett fez, que ele diz que para ele o mais importante na escolha, na definição de se investe ou não numa empresa, o primeiro ponto é a marca. Okay? Enquanto que muitas empresas colocam o primeiro ponto é o aspecto financeiro da empresa, para ele o primeiro ponto é a marca, o segundo ponto é a equipa, não é, de direção, e só depois é que vem o aspecto financeiro. Portanto, para ver a importância da marca da empresa. Okay? E para vocês construírem uma marca forte para o vosso negócio, vocês têm que ter em consideração todos os aspectos e lembrar, acima de tudo, que uma reputação que pode ser construída, pode levar 20 anos para ser construída, pode ser destruída em 1 segundo, se vocês fizerem algo que não deve. Okay? E nessa de reforçar a marca da empresa, onde é que vocês devem colocar o vosso foco? Vocês devem colocar o foco no nome da empresa, no nome dos vossos produtos e serviços, o slogan, o logotipo, o tipo de letras e o papel de carta que vocês usam, o preço que vocês aplicam, onde e como vocês fazem a publicidade dos vossos serviços e produtos, como os vossos funcionários se apresentam em termos de se tem uniforme, se não tem uniforme, como é que eles se comportam, se vocês têm ou não presença na internet, se tem um website, se não têm, e, acima de tudo, a presença nas redes sociais, muito, muito, muito importante. Hoje em dia, se não têm que procurar estar presentes. Todas as empresas querem vender, querem chegar a algum lado, querem ter uma marca duradoura, tem que estar presente nas redes sociais, tem que se fazer conhecer. E também, claro, através da vossa presença nas reuniões virtuais, seja no Zoom, Team, etc. Okay? Então, a criar uma marca que viva ao longo do tempo, que seja sustentável, que aguente, vocês têm que levar em consideração que cada produto, serviço que vocês estiverem a fazer, vai trazer mais valor à vossa marca. Okay? E de que cada vez que vocês adicionam valor à vossa marca, vocês estão a fazer com que estão a trazer benefícios à vossa empresa. O mais importante, quando se está a falar de valor da marca, é pensar o que o cliente vê, como é que o cliente vos vê, como é que o cliente vos encara, o que o cliente pensa sobre vocês. Okay? Lembrem-se, nós já falamos da presença nas redes sociais, dicas de como estar mais ativo ou beneficiar-se melhor das redes sociais, também são coisas que vocês podem procurar na internet e vocês encontrarão. Mas é preciso saber representar-se e lembrar que vocês, como empreendedores, vocês representam a vossa empresa. Empreendedores pequenos, vocês são representados da vossa empresa. E aqui um pensamento do Sr. Tony para vocês levarem convosco. Ele diz que não é tudo que se vê nas redes sociais que é real. Não se deixem influenciar e deixem se enganar por isso. Às vezes tem que parar e pensar, ok? Há que haver disciplina no que é a vossa jornada de vida, tá? Este é basicamente isso que nós temos a falar sobre as marcas, uma marca forte para o vosso negócio. E depois nós temos alguns exemplos aqui. Temos o primeiro exemplo, que fala-se o merge ou a junção de marca. Normalmente, o que é que se olha, ou quando é que se tira, como é que se tira o melhor das duas empresas. Nesse caso, Richard Edson e Jonathan Knowles, haver aqui várias estratégias, ou estratégia de combinar o que é bom de uma com o que é bom de outra, ou estratégia de deixar de lado alguns aspectos de outra e avançar só com o que é de outra. Enfim, são várias estratégias que vocês devem, no caso de mergir a empresa, tem que pensar como elaborar. E o segundo exemplo que nós temos aqui é o exemplo do próprio banco, o Standard Trust Bank, o UBA, não é? Que optaram por manter o nome, UBA, mas se vocês veem aqui, foi apresentado aqui, o UBA tinha um logotipo que é totalmente diferente do que é hoje. Este logotipo que hoje o UBA tem veio do Standard Trust Bank. Portanto, o UBA tinha um nome limpo, ok? Um nome mais interessante, mas o Standard Trust Bank tinha um logotipo mais interessante. Então, juntaram, né, o nome a um logo e a cor que usava o STB, e transformaram no que é agora hoje o UBA, o logotipo, a marca do UBA. Então, basicamente é isso em relação aos focos nas vossas marcas. Não se esqueçam de assinar a lista de presença, que vai passando ali no comentário do vídeo. Obrigada.
Madam Angela, I don't know. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nadia. Can I go ahead with the comment?
Please do. Please do.
Okay.
Comment, question. Yeah.
Okay, so we have quite a number. So you had asked them what sort of books they're reading, if they're reading. So let me just go over that quickly. So somebody said that okay, let me start from here because it's quite a lot. I have to scroll all the way down. There are a lot of comments on the type of books they have been reading. Okay. Okay. A lot of comments are coming in.
You can summarize.
Okay, I'll just okay. So someone said that I love reading books, and I love reading books not just because I want to read, but because I want to learn and pick out something from reading. Then another person is saying so it just comments, thank you, TF team. Thanks, Madam Angela, for this engaging and impactful session. I have learned a lot and I'm going to apply to my business. Again, another one saying, thank you for the session. I'm working with an influencer. Is working with an influencer another good way of building my brand? So this is with regards to branding. Another one said, branding is very important in business and your brand is what distinguishes you between other products or service. It has to be top-notch and well-examined for your business to thrive. So there's another comment here. Okay, there are lots in French as well. So another comment here is, I thank you for this impactful session. I am reading a book on Think and Grow Rich. I learned that wealth is not just about money. Then there's another one, The Habits of Highly Effective People. That's a book that this person is reading. Then I read The Richest Man in Babylon over and over again. That's another book that this person has read. I'm reading The 100 Million Offer by Alex Omonzi. Then there's another one here. Branding increases brand awareness, improves customer loyalty, increases sales, as well as attracts new customers to one's business. Thank you for Madam Angela. Thank you for sharing these values. I believe great achievement comes from great people. For books, I love Harvard Business Reviews. I read plenty of them daily. Then there's another one. I'm currently reading 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. There's another comment. I'm currently reading The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. I'm also reading The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, and it is highly recommended for business owners. My favorite book is The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. Then there are other comments on branding. Branding gives your organization an identity, makes your business memorable, encourages consumers to buy from you, supports your marketing and advertising, and brings your employees pride. My brand is what distinguishes me from other businesses, and it covers my business name, colors, logo, product quality, web presence, etc. Great products without proper branding will not thrive. Then another one is, I'm reading The Minimalist Entrepreneur by Sahil Lavingar. Thank you for passing out this knowledge. Thank you, Madam Angela. I have learned a lot today. Another one says, I read The Millionaire Fast Lane by MJ Damanko. I read a lot of books, and this session is the best for me. Then another person says, Think and Grow Rich is one popular book I am currently reading. Then I'm reading The Lean Startup. That's another person telling us what they're reading. Then another comment from Promise is, brand is very important. From Stellum, I'm currently reading Anatomy of Peace. Then this is for social media. For me, I think social media are the key today to attain more customers. Then another person says, I'm reading Tony Robbins. Other comments are, such a lovely session. Thank you, Madam Angela. I'm currently reading 48 Laws of Power. I sincerely advise to read carefully, please. Not everything therein is practicable. Another person is saying, I'm currently reading Sell Like Crazy by Sabri Subi. Then someone is saying, I love to read. Book reading is very good. I am reading The Power of Positive Thinking. One lesson I learned is that believing in yourself is very key. And then I'm currently reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. My brand is what differentiates me from others. This is under branding. And then another person is saying, thank you, Madam Angela. Awesome learning time today. And so there's a question. Okay, so it's not a question. This is a book he's reading. I'm reading How to Build Your Business from the Ground Floor Up by Sonny Obazu. Then another person said, I'm reading The Purpose-Driven Life by Dr. Miles Monroe. So there's just a lot of people telling us the books that they're reading.
Sure.
Yes, your books that they're currently reading.
Yeah.
So there's another one here. Okay.
I think we can, so that we give an
okay.
Focal.
Okay, that's fine.
But just to add that I read 10 chapters of the Bible every Saturday. So that's my meticulous reading.
Yeah.
Focus, over to you.
Over to you, Focus. Thank you.
Thank you. Oui, je vais d'abord commencer. Tout à l'heure, j'ai oublié de prendre l'exemple de la fusion du logo lorsque Standard Trust Bank et UBA ont fusionné, tel que vous le verrez dans le support. Dans la fusion, on a retenu la fusion du logo en prenant le nom de UBA et les couleurs de Standard Trust Bank. C'est ce que vous allez voir, c'est ce que je voulais rappeler. Donc maintenant, pour ce qui est des livres que vous avez lus, on va partager avec vous. Tout à l'heure, e-book était en train de lire. On a par exemple des gens qui ont eu à lire Père riche, Père pauvre, qui ont lu des millionnaires mindset, qui ont lu le boulevard de l'autoroute de la richesse, comment ça s'appelle, réfléchissez et devenez riche de Napoléon Hill. Il y en a qui ont lu le Lean Startup, ça c'est autant de livres qui ont été lus. D'autres ont lu la force de la puissance de la pensée positive du docteur Norman Vincent Hill. Il y en a qui disent qu'ils ont lu L'homme le plus riche de Babylone. Donc, voilà autant de lectures que les uns et les autres ont partagé, qu'ils ont lu. On a un commentaire que j'ai aussi noté sur YouTube. C'est le commentaire de, je vais lire son nom, le commentaire de Natacha Sonouveau qui dit donc, en somme, la marque, c'est ce à quoi on habitue les clients, ce qui vous permet de vous positionner sur le marché et qui fait la différence avec les concurrents. Donc, voilà quelques retours qu'on pouvait partager. Continuez à faire vos retours dans les commentaires et puis on aura le temps de revenir dessus. Over to you, Nadia.
Thanks, Foucault. Okay.
Sorry, Foucault, any examples, anything, any comments from the French team?
Yes, I have written a comment. Someone said that, okay, in English, someone said that he understands that the brand is what makes a client to have the habit of your product and your company. That it is what gives the position on the market and make difference from between your product and the product of the competition. That is the comment I read. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Nadia, sorry.
Ok. Então, estava a fazer aqui a leitura de alguns comentários de vossos colegas, no geral. As pessoas estão a agradecer pela sessão. Estão também a falar sobre os livros que têm estado a ler. São vários livros. Eu sei que alguém, pelo menos o Suleiman Sambu, acho que da Guiné-Bissau, falou de estar a ler um livro sobre pesquisa de investimentos no setor de restauração, que é o setor onde atua, mas, no geral, é isso. Houve alguém que fez uma questão sobre o uso de influência para o seu negócio, se isso estaria a ajudar a sua marca. Sim, obviamente que isso ajuda a sua marca, não é? Porque influência alcança muita gente e essas pessoas ficam a conhecer a tua marca, o teu negócio, obviamente. Em termos dos livros, a senhora já disse que ela própria lê a Bíblia aos domingos, portanto, essa é a parte dela de ser uma leitura voraz. Ela lê 10 capítulos, pelo menos, de Bíblia todos os fins de semana. É basicamente isso. Obrigado pela atenção. Não se esqueçam de preencher a lista de presença. Tá. Ok, e como over to you.
Maybe I think Ibuku has, I think this is where we maybe draw a close. Nadia, any feedback for me?
Yeah. No, general thank you to you, madam, for the session. There is somebody that was mentioned the book he's reading. He said he likes to read books about research on funding and financing for his own sector of business. And generally, just thank you. Nothing more.
Thank you. So let me use this opportunity to also thank all the participants, thank Ibuku, Foko, and Nadia, and look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much. Tomorrow.
Thank you, by God's grace.
Thanks, Coco.
Thank you very much, Ma. So we have the next session tomorrow. So please stay tuned. We're sending emails so you can join the session tomorrow. Madam Angela is going to be here again to take the other series on the TOE way. So please ensure you join. Let's ensure it's also interactive. We pay attention so that we can get the desired learning. So I think we may need to now end the session now. I don't know if Madam Angela has anything to say. To the entrepreneurs, nothing.
No. I'm looking forward to seeing them tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, and see you tomorrow. Have an amazing evening. Bye, everyone.